All right, so good morning and good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to this live interview. This is the US-based Focus on Liberia. My name is Springs, and we're coming to you live and direct from Monrovia, Liberia. Specifically, we are at the Capitol building, the House of Representatives, where we've come to speak with Joseph Vallai. Joseph Vallai is the Secretary General of the Council of Patriots, and of course, a political pressure group here in Liberia, organized in 2019, if I'm not making a mistake, by popular talk show host and political commentator Henry Costa. Vallai is the Secretary General to that group, and of course, yesterday the group released a statement expiring Henry Costa as chairman of the COP and also expiring from the institution. We come to speak with the Secretary General as to why informed the body's decision yesterday. What are those things that are within the statement that one could believe are reasons enough to have your chairman, the chairman of the COP, expelled? So, Joseph, welcome to Focus on Liberia. How are you doing?
Thank you very much. It's a privilege to be here with you.
Great. So, for the benefit of the viewers, tell us who is Joseph Vallai.
My name is Joseph K. Vallai Jr. I'm the Secretary General of the Council of Patriots, organizers of the June 7, 2019 and January 6, 2020 peaceful protests in Liberia.
All right. So, and how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yesterday, we saw a statement on the social media signed by you that expelled Henry Costa as chairman of the COP, that is the Council of Patriots for short. Tell us what informed that decision.
Mr. Costa has been under investigation by the COP over the last couple of months for solicitation of bribe from key WIA officials to attack major and key opposition political figures. Mr. Costa has been consistently misconducting the activities of the COP, misrepresenting our core value as an institution, ranging from ethical misconduct to gross incompetence and to solicitation of bribes from pro-government officials to attack on our key opposition figures.
All right, so how did you reach the decision yesterday? I'm sure in organization like yours, before you expel somebody or suspend somebody, you had to meet certain threshold. Maybe a executive committee meets a council with quorum or something like that. So how did it happen yesterday?
The issue of the COP, we have constitutions, okay. We have various committees, we have Samuel Johnson, who is the chair on the ethical committee. So when there are issues of, ethical violation like bribery in the case of Costa, these issues are referred to the relevant committees for investigation and their own decisions.
So how did you reach that decision? What did you establish? What did your investigation establish?
I was not a member of the committee. I was asked to communicate the position of the committee as Secretary General
and what did the committee
of the organization. The committee concluded that, it was established that Mr. Costa's consistent attack against key opposition political figures were being ruled by the George Weah government, ranging from attack on Cummins, attack on Yomli Kanga Lawrence, attack on Joseph Vallai. The committee established that these consistent and perpetual media attack against key opposition figures by Mr. Henry Costa were being ruled by the city government, specifically Mr. Samuel Tuwe, who is the Minister of Finance, and Augusto Flomo, who is the Deputy Minister of Finance, and alongside Emma Glasgow, who is the head of the National Fishery of Liberia.
Those are things the investigation established. Did the committee contact Costa during the process of the investigation? Was it contacted?
When the committee contacted Mr. Costa regarding the allegations, he refused to respond on ground of a false sense of inferiority above the movement. On any sensible judicial system or procedure, refusal to comment is a justice by default. So if a committee calls you, for example, to investigate, you refuse to speak to your side, the other officers are going to run a justice by default. So I think the conclusion of the committee yesterday was a result of a justice by default. And we have communicated this. This morning I spoke to the VOA with James Bolton for 8 minutes and 22 seconds. We spoke on the VOA on the matter. This afternoon it will be on the Focus on Africa on the BBC as well. Mr. Costa has been expelled from the COP. Anybody doing business with Costa doing it at the risks.
Costa is a very, very, very much influential gentleman in Liberia and in Africa. He's been recognized as, I think, the 31st or so most influential person in Africa. I mean, I stand to be corrected, but I remember I read an article like that before. This action, since your letters to him yesterday, have you heard from him? Has he said anything to you?
Costa's response was on VOA.
Okay.
He spoke to the VOA already. Okay. He thinks the decision was arbitrary, but you can call a decision arbitrary one if you refuse to respond to the relevant committee.
Do you have records that you contacted him and he refused?
If we have record, the committee has a record.
Great. So which because you earlier on mentioned your constitution, which specific portion of this constitution that Costa's action violated, alleged action violated?
The committee established that Section 17, for example, Article 17 of the COP Constitution speaks against ethical misdealings.
Okay.
So ethical misdealing will include solicitation of bribe, immoral acts, human provisions or human ideas that violate societal norms. We think that solicitation of bribe violate ethical, transgression. I mean, it's an act of ethical transgression.
How did they know he was soliciting bribe?
How did the committee know that?
Mm-hmm. The committee, COP as a whole, how did they know that?
There was an allegation raised against him by one of the committee members, one of the organization members, on the solicitation of bribe. The matter was being looked into. And I said this week that there was a due process. A due process in the sense that Costa himself did not take the time to respond to the committee investigating the action. Let me tell you something. We have to stop this misconduct of thinking that we're powerful than organizations and institutions that we form part of. It can be the smallest of allegations that's been made against anybody, okay? If the relevant authority calls you to speak to the issue, you should have a sense of responsibility. I think the matter reached this far because of Henry Costa's false sense of superiority over the committees within the COP.
All right, so as it stands, who's next in line that people can look up to as an acting chair of the COP? Have you reached that stage? Do you have an acting chair now?
The COP will be announcing a new acting chairman today. So because what is also established is that Costa did this conspiracy with his vice chair, Anthony Timber, who is supposed to be the next person in line. So it means that we have to further look into the movement. But the COP is obviously going to announce acting chairman today.
So what is the fit, the strength of the COP? Because many Liberians, or even people who are viewing this live broadcast across the world, will believe that Henry Costa, because of his popularity, because of his strength, his intellectual ability, may have been the one that brought the COP where it is now or where it was in 2019 and 2020. What is it? So with this, your action, what can you say? What is the strength? What is the state of the COP when it comes to strength, when it comes to governing forces, when it comes to being one of those called the advocacy group in Liberia?
The 2 times Costa came to Liberia, he was welcome at the COP. While he was in the US, ordinary Liberians turned out. The COP base is not in Costa, the COP base is in the everyday Liberian people who feel the pinch of bad governance and poor political leadership in Liberia. So the conversation is about if Costa is powerful than the COP and he carries the scars of the COP, this guy is the most powerful man in the COP. No. Let me tell you why. Assuming these allegations are true, did Costa form the COP to solicit bribe? These are the merits of the...
You will not expel him because he did not appear for your investigation. So there were no fact established.
No, it's a justice by default.
That's what I'm saying.
So you can say no more, there's no fact. He refused, so it's a consent on the process. Even if you go to court, if somebody sue you today and the court invites you for a trial or the court calls you over a trial, You refuse to show up, they're going to run out justice. The court is not going to say they can't run out justice because you didn't come. So why, of course, I refuse to come for the next 10 years?
How long did they go before you come up with this
2 months.
this verdict?
2 months. So if Costa was not going to appear for 10 months, can we say we're not going to make justice and the COP cannot move forward because Costa is not coming? Look, this is a notion that we have to dispel. We should not grow anybody above any of our institutions. And this is a precedent we in the COP thought to set. If we have said it, Costa is expelled, Costa remains expelled. There are due processes for expelled member who intend to challenge the expulsion. That is to take appeal before the ethical committee of the COP.
He has that right.
He has that right. And that's why in the communication sent to him, I reminded him, as Secretary General, I reminded him of the right to take an appeal.
Okay, your statement came yesterday about 2 hours or so after Henry Costa had a very elaborate press conference where he, in my own word, that's my word, that's not what he said, but in my own word, he lashed at the Unity Party, a Senate barrier and political leader, and presidential candidate Joseph Vallai of being the betrayer that have betrayed him as an individual and also betrayed the All Liberian Party that have stood with the party, the Unity Party, all the times. And then it didn't take long, maybe 2 hours after you came up with your statement. How do you look at the time in the vote? Is it because of the statement, the press conference that you came up with that statement yesterday?
Absolutely not, and I'm not going to speak to the political conversation of Costa. Whether Costa associated with the ALP, the CDC, I'm not.
But just say he's been soliciting bribe from the CDC to antagonize opposition officials, opposition leaders rather.
That was a COP conversation. That is a COP conversation. Okay. But regarding the content of his press conversation, it's a zero interest to me. It's not a merry conversation.
One bit thing, because I know for five, as you tell me I'm lying, I know for five you support the Unity Party. One bit thing that your action yesterday, the COP action through you as Secretary General may be provoked by the press conference.
No, they think the wrong thing. So look, I can't burden myself with censorship. That you got to think this way, you got to think, no. It's a lot of load to carry. I can't do that for anybody. You can think what you want to think, but what remains true is the COP have established that Mr. Henry Costa has been soliciting bribe from the Liberia CDC Finance Minister, Samuel Tuwe. On this ground, he's been expelled from our movement. That's the message.
As a Unity Party supporter and member of the Unity Party and also a member of the COP, which of course Costa has been part of, what do you make of the statement yesterday? Is it true that your party betrayed him and the AFP as member of the Unity Party?
Well, like I said, I'm avoiding speaking to the Mary Costa's conversation. It's his right.
It requires
a free speech issue.
Discussion.
No, not for me. I have my own stand-up discussion. First of all, I think some of the things Costa said has not passed the common logic test.
What do you mean by that?
And they do not make common sense to me. Before I speak to something for me, it has to pass as a common sense.
He's supposed to be vice presidential candidate. You left him out. You pick a Jeremiah Kong after you promised him.
That's Joseph Vallai. It's his right to choose whoever he wants to choose. And I respect that. I can't make that the conversation. As I said, the conversation is stuck to Henry Costa expulsion from the COP on grounds of soliciting bribe from Samuel Tuwe. And that's the message.
All right, so thank you. Finally, what do we see the COP doing? I mean, where do we see the COP after October 10? Will you still be strong, or you just doing anything because you hate the Georgia government so much, or you are hated the Georgia government so much, or do we see you doing the same thing? Maybe if you're very United Party wings and things are not going right, or if the CPP of Alexander Kumin wings and things are not going right.
In the upcoming days,
will we see you strong in the election after the elections?
In the upcoming days, the COP will be communicating its next 1 year strategic action plan, which include low-income employment opportunities for young people across the country. We tend to talk about, our contribution towards rural school programs. These are the things that matter to the COP. Okay, so we keep burdening ourselves with somebody join political party, somebody didn't join political party. The right to associate and disassociate in Liberia is a constitutional issue, and we want to respect that at all times.
Finally, we want Liberian people to be aware that Henry Costa remains expelled from the COP, and anybody doing business with Costa in the name of the COP is doing that at his or own financial risks. Thank you very much. Do we expect to go to court?
If we expect the master to go to court, The right to go to court is a constitutional thing. Costa has the right to go to court or any part of the world. It's a free movement, a free speech issue. It's a democratic issue. That becomes more of a civil liberty issue. Should we censor him? Can we be into censorship? We can. We can. The message is, look, the COP remain committed to not condoning this misconduct of soliciting bribe from government officials to attack on our key opposition figure. We think Costa action is a democratic misconduct, and he should be expelled and is expelled.
Thank you so much. So, folks, his name is Joseph Vallai. He is the Secretary General of the Council of Patriots. The Council of Patriots was established in 2019 by popular talk show host and political commentator Henry Costa. He's been here putting government's feet to the fire and other stakeholders who, in their mind, and might be involved in the other acts of corruption and stuff like that. But today, we've been speaking to him on the letter yesterday that expelled Henry Costa on grounds that he's been involved into misconduct of soliciting bribe from officials of government. Allegedly, we as an institution have established that we hope to contact Mr. Henry Costa in due time. Thanks so much for following us. My name is Prince Moba. This is Focus on Liberia, based in the U.S. state of Atlanta, Georgia. Do join us another time. Bye-bye.